And today is a warm March 23rd, 2021 in New York City. We're in the majestic Grand Central Terminal, part of America's greatest city. And it's not the long distance station it used to be. All Metro North now, Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines. But being here harkens back to an old radio show that was on back in the 1940s, I think. It was called Grand Central Station. And it wasn't really about trains. It was about a number of stories about various people and problems they encountered and how they dealt with it. All New York people, pretty much. But they always had the same introduction. It would start off like this. Shining rails in this great country are aimed at Grand Central Station, heart of America's greatest city. Day and night, great trains rush toward the Hudson River, speed down the eastern bank of the Hudson for 140 miles, dive into the tunnel that burrows underneath the swanky street of Park Avenue, and then Grand Central Station, heart of America's city, crossroad of a million private lives, etc., etc. All the while this is being spoken, you hear the sounds of steam locomotives chugging along with their whistles, including under the Park Avenue tunnels into Grand Central. If that's the case, then an awful lot of people got asphyxiated getting off the train. But it proves one thing. To viewers and listeners, railroad shows have the little oohs and ahs and the excitement and thrills. But to railroad buffs and employees, you all come to the same conclusion that the movie industry knows absolutely nothing about railroads. Here's the departure board for Hudson and Harlem trains in the far end with the red stripe on top for New Haven line trains. Furthest you can go on a single train out of here nowadays is, well, it's a tie between New Haven and Poughkeepsie. Wasaig is mainly connecting services at Southeast on the Upper Harlem line. The official name of this building is Grand Central Terminal. A lot of people call it Grand Central Station. And you can incur the wrath of Metro North employees if you refer to it as such. Metro North has their headquarters in this building. A couple of Kawasaki M8s sharing tracks 24 and 23. You'll see the sign for a Danbury-bound train on track 28. Years ago, track 28 is where the 20th Century Limited used to depart from, complete with red carpet, everything. That was discontinued December 3rd, 1967. And we're standing on the platform for track 37 and 36, waiting for the arrival of a train from North White Plains, which will be piloted by the Philly Fender Bender, aka the Ghost Engineer. And here he comes, track 37, right on time. M3s too. It's Tuesday, March 23rd. We're up in White Plains North. You're looking at a train going into the yard here at White Plains North, looking north towards southeast. See the flashing green for a southeast-bound train in the station. That means you can proceed according to cab signal indication. Got some train action. The interlocking north of the station is 124. Got a train coming in from southeast, and we got a train going out for southeast. Harlem line action, MUs only. I believe there's a grade crossing on the other side of the yard for the southeast bound trains.
Now boarding on track 2 is the 5:52 p.m. train to Grand Central Terminal, making stops at White Plains, Florida, and Harlem 125th Street.
Expresses from southeast. This station, two-platform affair with 3 tracks. I can remember when I was here in 1969, it was in the summertime. It was low platforms. On that side only, the southbound side. Northbound side, there was an extra station called Holland Avenue. They used to change locomotives there years ago. They used to run from Grand Central to here with an S motor or a T motor, and then they put an RS3 on for the remaining run to Brewster. And they do this, you know, the reverse on the southbound trip. But when Penn Central took over the New Haven in February of '69, a funny thing happened. They cut a lot of trains going to Boston and Springfield, which freed up a bunch of FL9s. So they transferred those FL9s to this line, and they ran through trains from Grand Central to Brewster, powered by FL9s all the way. Look weird seeing New York Central passenger cars with New Haven painted FL9s on them. They did some really unusual practices here. Sometimes they would run a train from Brewster to here with RDCs only. And here they would back an electric locomotive on, or in the case of myself back in 1970 on a trip, they backed an MU consist in front of it and dragged the dead RDCs into Grand Central. Of course, they had to use the loop tracks to facilitate that, as the RDCs can't control the MUs from the other end. And right behind the train from southeast, we have a local originating out of North White Plains, coming in to pick up passengers to make local stops to Grand Central. M7A cars. At 6:13, that was a southeastbound Metro North train going over the Virginia Road crossing just north of the White Plains yard. And there's the north end of the yard at North White Plains. You can see there's quite a few M3s in there. At 6:18, we have a southeast to Grand Central train passing the Virginia Road crossing. We'll be coming into North White Plains station in a minute or two. This is the first crossing you encounter going on the Harlem line from New York. Train of Bombardier M7As. We're at the Valhalla restaurant right alongside the tracks. See this B&O caboose is part of the restaurant right near the Valhalla Dam. There's Philly Fender Bender and the signal. You think that's a AKA Ghost Engineer? You think that's a Frankfurt type signal?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Huh.
Maybe an old IRT.
Cleveland Street crossing in Valhalla. We got a southeastbound train coming. looking north at the Valhalla station. Several years ago, there was a terrible accident here. A woman stopped on a crossing for some reason, just stood there between the gates that were down on both sides, didn't budge, and the train ran in and ripped up third rail, killed a lot of people. Oh, it was a mess. It's another part of the Valhalla Crossing restaurant. This old observation car. Looks like it has all the elegance comparable somewhat to the Cold Spring Depot up in Cold Spring, New York on the Hudson Line.